Hello, welcome to Undisputed Boxing. We're back for Boxing News Edition, and we're just going to wrap up the weekend's boxing. It's actually a pretty packed out weekend. There was a few that kind of caught me off guard. Filip Hrgovic fought Radonjic on the Friday night on DAZN. That was in Austria. There's a couple of fighters that I was interested on the undercard. John Ryder fighting again at light heavyweight. Obviously a keep busy fight in preparation for hopefully a world title tilt. Dalton Smith versus Pilaez. And then there was also Tony Yoka versus Peter Milas at the Roland Garros, the famous tennis court in Paris. And then we'll talk about the Triller card as well. Probably not as much. But yeah, good weekend for boxing. I'm here with Rick. How are we doing?
I'm all right. Hands up before we get any nasty comments. I won't be able to comment as much as you because I was on a stag do this weekend, so I haven't seen as much. And to be fair, let's give Ranakaru a shout out.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, caught her game. Well, the end of it because I was on this stag do. Never thought I'd be with a group of lads in a bar in Nottingham watching the women's final.
Yeah, pretty amazing, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to her indeed.
So yeah, Hrgovic is one that I have seen. So I can comment on that. Unfortunately, I did see some of the Triller card as well.
Yeah. Well, let's start with Hrgovic, Radonjic. Yeah.
Yeah, so
undefeated,
that
21-0, I think he was. Relatively well unknown. I didn't recognise anybody on his record. I just
Hrgovic is probably, he's in that second or third tier. He's maybe third tier pushing into second. So I'm quite keen to see how he was, but I know he looked a lot heavier than I'd seen him last. He used to be a little bit wiry, but he is getting older now, and I suppose you get that. It's harder, but he's not been that active either.
No. Which hasn't really been his fault.
I wonder if he's put a bit of weight. Some of it's going to be an age thing. Some of it's going to be not being active, and so maybe this is the right thing for him. But I remember there's a few shots from just behind him. He looked a lot bigger from the back, fleshier, plodding more. Pretty unimpressive, if I'm honest. He needs to get his backside in order. I think if he stays like that, he won't be breaking. He'll be getting cleaned out by the next level up.
Yeah. Well, he's in. I don't know if that was a world title eliminator for the IBF. I think it was sanctioned by the IBF, but he's one fight away from challenging the IBF title holder, which at the moment is AJ. But yeah, I wasn't that impressed. I'm still not kind of sold on Filip Hrgovic. I know there was a lot of fanfare around him when he went pro, and there's a lot of sparring stories that he's beat up Daniel Dubois and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm yet to kind of see it in the pro ranks. A future world champion. What's your sort of take on his opponents? Do you think that Kalle Sauer needs to kind of be paying for better opposition, because this isn't really going to be good for his development, is it? Fighting these kind of, poor. He needs to kind of like a top 15, top 20.
It's Frank Warren syndrome, this a little bit, where they build the fighter up, he looks good, and then they go from they're coming through the ranks, they're fighting the top 50s and 40s and 30s. And then they go to like number 2 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like they don't find that middle ground. And I'm trying to think of a good fight for him would be. I mean, Ariola's kind of a good fight for a few people after the Ruiz fight. Someone like him, it's that kind of level. But he looked a lot. He fought. Who did he fight on? I think it was a Matchroom card. I think it was an AJ. I think it was one of the AJ cards.
Eric Molina.
Molina. Yeah. And I thought, that was obviously Molina's past it, but it was a couple of years ago now. And I thought that's a good gauge. He did really well against him. He's just not kicked on. I know the pandemic's there, but Don't know. Some of these fighters just get stuck in the rut of the, no one wants to fight them. They're not commercially huge. Are they with the right person in terms of promoter? And the pandemic doesn't help. So, and in the meantime, he's gone and put weight and looks a bit sloppy. Now, I don't think it'll be this, but whether he wants to look bad so people will have more of a go, I don't know. But we'll see. But it wasn't a final eliminator, was it? Because that's what they're struggling to get.
No, I think what happens now, because they weren't able to, nobody in the top 15 accepted it. So he's just this is a keep busy fight, and then they're going to go through the top 15 again with the IBF, which I think is going to be kind of reshuffled or reconfigured a little bit. So that top 15 will probably look a little bit different to when they started that process, I think in January, February.
Pulev fight would be a great one. But obviously Pulev probably shouldn't be getting a final eliminator shot. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't agree with that. However, as a fight, that would be a great fight.
That's a good fight. That's a good shout, actually. I'd like to see that. And you'd back Hrgovic, I think, to win that.
Well, not looking like he was on the weekend, but yeah. He was getting caught as well from someone who ain't that good.
No.
I think his mobility wasn't there.
Radonjic was, he was very unorthodox though, and he was telegraphing his backhand a lot, and it was a little bit sloppy. And if that's a top 10 fight, heavyweight, then Hrgovic is getting cleaned out, and then he has to rebuild. So I think it's maybe it could be a combination of a few things. A little bit demotivated. I mean, he was supposed to fight early part of this year, and he's been waiting, and he's finally out in September. So understandably, probably a bit frustrated, and maybe a little bit of ring rust kicking in as well.
Yeah, and weight.
So that was Hrgovic.
I didn't watch Yoka. What was Yoka like then?
Yeah, I mean, if you compare and contrast with Tony Yoka versus Peter Milas, levels apart, I was really, really impressed with Tony Yoka, and I think I really like the Virgil Hunter link up as well. I think he's the right trainer for him. He looks really slick, fast. He's got good feet, throws combinations. He's got dynamite in his right hand, and he's got some half decent people on his resume as well. He's fought Dubois, a couple of others as well that people that you recognize.
Dave Allen.
Dave Allen. So but again, they really need to start thinking about stepping him up now. But if you're asking me to compare Tony Yoka versus Hrgovic on that performance, you're going to say Tony Yoka is one that is going to challenge. But I don't know. I don't even know what route they're going down in terms of which sanctioning body.
All these lots should be really fighting each other, like Hrgovic, Yoka, Dubois. You know what I mean? But they'll never do these things, and that's the problem because once they get beat, they have to rebuild, and this is why they only kind of take the risk when they go to the very top, but then they're not ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Yoka was to fight Dubois, the winner of that would be in a great position or a lot stronger position to fight for a world title.
Yeah,
but they both go near each other, then let's go for the world title. I get it, commercially, it ain't that much good fun for us, and probably doesn't set them up that well when they get there. And Yard's a great example.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tony Yoka would take that Daniel Dubois fight, 100%, because he would run through Dubois. I think. I was really impressed with him. He's the one that I would kind of pick. Yeah, he stopped him, I think, in the 8th round.
No, do you think he'd stop Dubois when you say he'd run through?
Yeah, I think he would. I think he would. Yeah, that would be. That'd be my fault.
And then there's Joyce in the mix. I know Joyce has beat Dubois, but he should be fighting in that realm. And then one of them has to step up to White and that kind of stuff. But anyway, so he looked on track.
Yeah, really, he really did, and I think it's just important that he builds on this and gets momentum. I'd really like to see him out again in December. But I don't know what heavyweights Top Rank have. Who do they actually have? I know they've got Pulev, haven't they? Who could they have that they could match him up with? A decent top 15 or top 20 heavyweight. I
don't know. I mean, Pulev's a good opponent for anyone.
Hmm.
You know
Because
what I
he's
mean?
at
But
that
again,
right stage now, isn't he?
yeah, he's someone that's coming down. You know, he's a big name. He's fought the best, but he's not as good as he used to be. Coming off a loss, but I mean, I've not heard much from him since December. But you
Yeah.
know, he's not retired from what I know. But he'll be wanting a big payday, and he'll still probably fancy his chances. So they'd want to, you know.
Who is Joe Joyce fighting next? Is this opponent been named yet?
I think so. I mean, he fought relatively recently, so I wouldn't expect an opponent quite yet. But you know, these are some of the people Hughie Fury needs to be getting in the mix with as well.
Mm.
People say he was a bit more established, but he's got beat whenever he's got to that level.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, he's somebody that I'm not 100% sold on. I think I would still pick Tony Yoka over him. But anyway, yeah, I think big future for Tony Yoka. Let's just hope he kicks on and actually gets some momentum. Going back to the Hrgovic card, there was Dalton Smith versus Peleas. I thought he put in a really impressive performance. It was a points win, but looked really, really good. I was really impressed with Dalton Smith. I think out of the Brit prospects, I think he's definitely up there. I think he's now 11-0. It'd be good to see him maybe step up against a name, you know, maybe somebody like Lewis Ritson or O'Hara Davies. I think, you know, I think he looks ready for one of those guys now. But yeah, really impressed with him. Looks really good on the back foot. He can kind of do it all, really. He's good on the inside, throws combinations. And then John Ryder was on the card as well in a light heavyweight contest against Joseph Jerko. I'm not sure if I like John Ryder at light heavyweight, you know, because I think he's a career middleweight and he looks a little bit fleshy. But I just don't think there's any.
That's a lot of. There's a lot of pounds, that, isn't it?
It is, yeah. He looks a bit fleshy, and I think
that's going from 160 to
175. Yeah, 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think there's maybe because it's lack of opportunity at super middleweight. You know, Canelo's got that division kind of wrapped up, and if he beats Sweet Hands, Caleb Plant, maybe the belts might become fragmented. But I think for the short term, the belt there's not a lot of opportunity at super middleweight at the moment. So maybe that's.
I mean, if he stays up there too long, he'll struggle to get back down.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that's the problem when you're big, when you're in the upper weights and you go up. You know, I think if you're like 147, you can get down to 140 perhaps.
Yeah,
but I think it's harder. You know, if you're 160, you can get down to 155. Is it 154?
154 for light middle. Yeah,
but then to go like 175 to 168, I think it gets trickier.
Yeah.
Thingy fought as well. Actually, it just pops into my head. I didn't see the fight. He used to be a. I'm trying to think what weight he is now. I think he used to be a real big favourite in Matchroom.
Sam Eggington.
Eggington, yeah.
Yes.
It was Barry Hearn loved him, didn't he? But he got a win. His face was busted up.
Yeah, he's had a lot of hard fights, hasn't he, Sam Eggington?
It's like him and Cheeseman seem to always look like a mess afterwards, and you wonder what they're going to look like by the end of their careers.
Yeah,
well, not look like, but what state they're going to be in,
or how well the brain's going to be functioning. I know. Yeah, I didn't see that. Well, should we talk about the Triller card? Get it out of the way.
Yeah, I'm actually disappointed I watched any of this really, but I mean, I didn't buy anything. I just watched it on YouTube. But when I heard that Holyfield went one round, I thought, well, it's just one round to watch. But it was bloody difficult. I mean, what is he doing in there? What is he doing in there? I mean, it was just. I mean, hardly did anything, and he was just getting hit, but he had no resistance, and some of them like cuffing shots, and he was going down, and the bizarre thing is, I mean, I've not seen interviews with him, but he probably will go away, forget all about it. I think he's brilliant still.
Yeah, I think boxers, they always say, don't they? They often need saving from themselves, and I think never a truer statement than in Evander Holyfield's case. I mean, people around him have just got to say, look, enough is enough. You know, you've taken a bit of a payday.
He's nearly 60. He looks in great shape for it. You know, he looks in good shape anyway.
Better shape than me and you.
Yeah, easily better shape than I've ever been in my life. But it doesn't mean you can do what you used to be able to do. And he had zero resistance, zero thingy, and he needs to look at that and just go, why am I doing? But they're deluded, aren't they? Yeah. So unfortunately, I did see that. And I saw highlights of the Hay fight, because when I saw how long it went, I thought, I know what that's about, and it confirmed it. I mean, I don't even threw a right hand from what I saw.
David Hay didn't throw a right hand.
Well, I can't say he didn't, but I watched like limited highlights, and he just seemed to be jabbing, and hardly ever threw anything big.
Yeah, and then he called out Tyson Fury. What do you make of that?
I don't know. He just wants attention or the pound note. You know what I mean? One weird thing is I've seen Hatman say this as well, and it was one of the first things I thought about. He actually looked a bit better movement wise than he did against Bellew, and I know it's nothing to do with an opponent, just how he moved around the ring and on his feet. And apparently he was like 211, which is a lot lighter. I think he was quite a bit lighter than he came in against Bellew. And you're like, it makes you think, if he'd not come in as heavy, would he have had a better chance, you know, against Bellew and that? And whether he's gone down in weight, feels a lot better, and then because he did say something like he won't be challenging, and I don't know whether he wanted to see how he felt, and now he's shouting them out. But this is where it's annoying for me, because I couldn't 100% rule it out, though I should be able to 100% rule it out, because you know, Hay will expect a big payday, but he won't expect something ridiculous, because he's not been in it or been around it and not got a title. Triller, God knows how much money they'd throw at it. Fury get a shitload, and there's probably ways around bloody the WBC, and it wouldn't surprise me if he just appeared in the top 10 or the top 15.
Well, Mark Demori is in the top 15 for the WBA.
I think I'm in one of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's too many things. I mean, whether Triller would put up a certain big amount of money or not is irrelevant, because he's got a contract with Top Rank, and Top Rank won't let that happen.
But it's only one fight, I think, isn't it? One fight left after Wilder.
That I'm not 100% sure on.
I thought it was, because it was 5.
Well, if that's the case,
listen, I'm not sat here going, I think it will. I think there are too many hurdles, but it's sad that I can't 100% say it won't, is what I'm saying. You know,
because Tyson Fury does. We know that Tyson Fury, once he's beaten the top guy, that Wilder, Klitschko, in between, sandwiched between those great fights, is dross and easy touches. You know, the Otto Wallin, that German guy, I can't remember his name now. Who's that German guy?
Although I wouldn't probably put Hay quite into the dross, but that much of a dross. But it's a lot easier fight than it ever has been. But you know, he could probably still land something if Fury wasn't, you know, paying attention. But yeah, what I'd much rather, and you get this with everything, and I could see this happening with Jake Paul or something like this, annoyingly, where they'll just fight anybody and then they'll get a shot at the best in the world or something. And it should be that Hay's been out for too long. He's not got. When was his last decent win? He shouldn't be anywhere near the 15. He needs to come back, fight someone half decent in the top 30, fight someone in the top 15, and then do it.
Yeah.
And then he deserves a shot. You know,
maybe. Yeah. Well, maybe that's what they do. Maybe he has one more, a calculated risk against somebody that he thinks he can beat, that's close to the top 15 in the WBC, and then they put him in at number 15, and then he gets a shot. I mean, if Shannon Briggs was in the top 15 for a couple of the governing bodies when he was running around, you know, 45, 46 years old, running around shouting, "Let's go, champ." So nothing kind of surprises me, really. It's
after Quendo was in like the WBA something for about 2 years and
didn't fought anybody.
And that's my thing. That's the disappointing thing. I don't think I can rule it out not happening. I don't think it will.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, that's enough of that. I think there isn't any other fights on that card you wanted to discuss. I'll tell you, just on the Triller, Anderson Silva, I think, was on there. Anderson Silva, out of all of the UFC or mixed MMA guys, he's actually got some boxing skills. Like genuine.
Yeah, he knocked someone out, didn't he? Early doors.
Yeah.
Isn't he really old?
He is old. Yeah, he's like mid-40s. He's definitely going to be on something to be, to still be kind of performing at that level. But he beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in his last fight, and he is a not world level boxer anymore, but he could still box. You would have backed him to beat Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva made him look silly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just one of the fight. Unfortunately, again, the one I didn't see, but heard about Valdez fought.
Oh yeah, Oscar Valdez. Yeah.
It's
Conceição.
Yeah, I feel I need to watch it because I hear it was he got beat, but some of the cards were ridiculous, and the referee was ridiculous, and the top rank commentary was ridiculous.
Was it?
Yeah.
I kind of didn't watch it, almost out of protest. I was really disappointed that it went ahead.
The drugs,
somebody's got to come down hard on these people. If they've failed a drug test, a drug test, a drug test. That's what it's there for. So I didn't really. I haven't seen it. All right. Well, I don't know if there's a lot of news to run through, but I have heard that Terence Crawford versus Shawn Porter is likely to be on for the 20th of November. So it looks like they're confident that's going to go ahead, and they're going to agree terms before purse bids are called.
There's so much competition around with DAZN, Triller, that they probably don't want to risk it, and it's probably forcing them to get to.
Well, there's no way that goes to purse bids. No way. And even if it does go to purse bids, they'll pull Porter out. And that more PBC side, I think Terence Crawford is probably a little bit more his own man, and this is his last fight with Top Rank, and the relationship seems pretty deteriorated at this point.
Disappointed news-wise, we've still not heard of an opponent for White. I think it's getting. I thought we'd have heard by now, and that the longer this goes on, the shitter the opponent, basically.
I thought it was Chris Arreola. That's the favourite, isn't it?
But why isn't it? Franklin apparently signed not a contract, but like a pre-contract, like an agreement to terms. So it's almost like if you believe everything, it sounds like it's Franklin's signed and ready, but they're obviously trying to get someone a bit better, and he's there in case they don't. And maybe he's got a deal that says, right, if I'm not fighting White, I need to be on the card, and he gets a fight in the payday. And maybe they're doing that, but just disappointed. And I suppose the longer it goes on, the more it's more likely to be Franklin, because I mean Arreola hasn't, he's not been that long since he's fought, and he did get in decent shape, didn't he? It's lightest I've seen him in a while. So hopefully if he stayed like that, he's ready to go. But it's like, what are we now? 7 weeks away?
Yeah.
7 weeks, maybe 6 on Saturday.
Yeah.
Seems to always happen this with White. Seems to be, you look at some of the fighters, they seem to the big fighters, they get announced, and White always seems to be a struggle. I don't know. I just hope the date doesn't move, because me and you have obviously been penciled that in.
Yeah, I've got it signed off already.
Yeah.
Any other news? What's going on with Kell Brook and Amir Khan? That seems to have gone very quiet.
Don't know. God knows.
Yeah, no news on that. And any news on Billy Joe Saunders coming back from one fight? I've heard he's only really interested in the Eubank fight. And if he doesn't get that fight, then he's probably going to retire.
Well, Eubank's got a fight now, hasn't he? So whether it's... I mean, he doesn't need to fight for... When was his fight with Canelo?
May.
So with that injury, you can forgive him if he doesn't fight until Feb.
Yeah, you don't think he'd be ready for a December fight? You don't think a December pay-per-view? Who was it that was talking about a pay-per-view fight in December? Is it Sky?
Hearn,
Was it Hearn?
yeah. But I've not like I've ever fully believed Hearn, but after some of the things recently, building stuff up, because it's not a pay-per-view fight, it's what would be a pay-per-view fight, but it's not now because it's the zone, which then probably means it'd be it'll be a weak pay-per-view fight. Because I don't know, I'm one of them that was happy to pay the 20 quid for a really, really good fight and card. Yeah. But I think what we might get is a slight, a 70% version of what we got for, for not the money, do you know what I mean? Because you've got your subscription, but I think I'd rather have paid more and got that big thing. Especially how me and you go to fights and stuff as well. It's great to go. I'm worried about the White fight. Normally we go there and, we probably want to see 5 of the fights.
Yeah.
And we might watch 1 in the pub and then 4 in our seats. But at the moment, it's looking like probably only bothered about Babic and White. So they stack it a bit more.
Yeah, I think Wardley will be on there as well, won't he?
Hopefully, but I've not heard much of him. Though there's been an interview that I've seen an interview with him on Boxing Social, I think. So I might watch that because it might give a indication if he's going to be on it or not. But,
all right, well let's wrap it up. That's a long one, so sorry about that. Next week, prediction time for AJ Usyk. Yeah,
we probably need to do a few videos that week.
Yeah, we'll do a prediction for that, and then maybe some of the fights on the card. I'll do a bit more research on what's on the undercard. We'll maybe throw some predictions out there for the undercard. I might go to the bookies.
Has Smith got an opponent yet?
I think he has. It's kind of an unknown. I saw his name and then I've immediately forgotten it. It wasn't somebody that I recognised.
Yeah.
But Campbell Hatton's on the card. The Source is on there. Your man, Lawrence Okoli.
Problem is, it's good to see some of these people out, but they're in, they all seem to be in fights that are expected to win. And then obviously the Joshua fight, favourite, but a lot tighter. But,
but we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Please like and subscribe.